Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host SREE IYER. Joining me today is Lieutenant General Shankar, and we're going to be talking about a very important topic. What a tangled web the United States is weaving in the South Asian region, that is Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India, and the ramifications of their policies. And you are seeing a lot of optics also for consumption of India, particularly. So, all this and more. And let's now welcome General Ravi Shankar. General Ravi Shankar, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you, sir?
Scott, thanks a lot, and thanks a lot again for inviting me over to P Gurus. Of course, it's a joint show, so
Yes,
I'm
yes.
glad that you're there. But before we start everything, tell me what's that nice looking orange thing which is on your lapel?
Thank you, sir. I'm glad you asked. So, viewers, what this is a lapel pin, something that you will stick on your lapel. It's an emerald. I'm sorry, marigold, not emerald, marigold. And this is, you call it gende ka phool, chamanti or banti chamanti. Also, you say it in Telugu. And this is have different names in different languages. But this is in honor of all the soldiers that laid down their lives for the British in World War One and Two. And I'm going to share, with your permission, General Ravi Shankar, a picture that reflects this,
Please.
because that's how we came about with this. This is a lady. The top picture you're seeing is a lady putting this kind of a lapel. She was putting a flower, really, and that's what this donates. And she's putting a flower on the chest of a soldier. This happened in Belgium in 1916 as they marched into Belgium. And this one happened in 2023. You can see the Champs-Élysées in the background, which is in Paris. Sir, you know more about this. Go ahead, sir.
Oh yeah, look, for those of you who don't know, India contributed almost the maximum number of people who participated, in World War One. And to the extent that, twice um, on the French National Day, our regiments have marched down Champs-Élysées, included here in Punjab Regiment, in honor of those who fought the Second World War and the First World War. And then again, just last year, I think the Madras Regiment went and did it. Contingent has gone to Kremlin in the Red Square and then a march because, contrary to what people think that America was the great savior of World War II, the major battles of World War, I can go over it any day if we have the time, were fought in Russia. And it was Russia which actually defeated the, German army. And they celebrate it. So, yeah, I think America has a very poor sense of history other than its own. So yeah, that's how it is. I think I'm sure you'll have a program where we can both talk about
Yes,
this in
indeed. We'll
greater
talk
detail.
about it in detail.
Yeah. This is
This
the
this
one
is
in
the Red
Kremlin.
Square, right? Yeah,
Red Square,
Kremlin.
yeah. Yeah, you can see the Kremlin top on the right corner. Red
Yeah,
Square, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I've been
And
there,
also
so
there is,
I can make it out.
and this is a memorial in France.
France, yeah. It's not only in France. There are many other places. Even in Brussels or
Yes,
somewhere near that, they have one.
we have at least half a dozen. Yes, sir. You're right.
Yeah, and even in Italy, people recognize the contribution of Indians in the Second World War and the First World War. So I think we have a lot to be proud of. In fact, if you really look at it, maybe one day we can have a discussion on the legacy, military legacy of India. We could this
Done,
thing,
sir.
and I would like to.
Whenever you have the deck ready, let me know. It's very important.
And uh, we'll talk of the military legacy of India post um, you know, independence. But what I'd like you to do is, in fact, yesterday only, I had a program with the historian Colonel Ajay Singh called "The History of Indian Warfare." Right, and I'll give you the link. Please put it out on P Gurus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll take you up on that
Yesterday,
one. Yes, thank you.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
right. And I mean, let me also put it across to you. Unfortunately, we didn't have that kind. I didn't get that kind of response. it's a pity that we don't know what our history is. We talk all nonsense otherwise. I think as Indians, we should be ashamed of the fact that we have one of the finest military legacies, and not only the military legacy, a strategic legacy along with it, and we don't know what we are. Uh,
Very,
so
very true,
anyway,
sir.
I'll give it to you,
Yeah.
and I would request all those who are watching this, see that. That's your history. Our history, my history, your history, his history.
Yes, indeed. I don't say this much, but my grandfather saw action in Second World War. He was part of the, I think it's called the Royal Indian Navy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was
And
all Royal Indian Navy, Royal Indian Air Force, the Royal
yeah,
Artillery, things like that.
yeah. So, so we are very proud that uh, we were part of history. That's all I can say. General Ravi Shankar, today's topic is on what the United States is up to. And I yield the floor to you, sir. You have a slide presentation also to
No,
show. Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead,
before
sir.
we go into the slide, I'd like to tell people, um, as days go by, my entire viewpoint is changing, and, as events unfold. And what do I see? I see a similarity between what happened to Iraq and the situation there today to what's happening in Bangladesh. So let me, you don't mind, I'll digress back into Iraq. The
Yeah,
First World War happened. Iran, Iraq was defeated, but Saddam Hussein was still in power. The Second Gulf War happened. Now, after the Second World War, they threw out Saddam Hussein, hung him, shot him, whatever they did with him. And then after that, what are the results? They put in a government out there, and then the ISIS came, and all that. And today it is still in problems. You don't understand what happened. People don't understand. The Baathist party of you know
Saddam.
Saddam Hussein was a Sunni party. It was a Sunni minority which was ruling and Iraq is a Shia majority state. They ruling the Shia majority, and this was a Sunni state, right? At least the government wise and orientation wise. Between this Syria, which is again a Shia state, and Syria, Libya on one side, and Iraq, what's this? Iran on the other side. Oh, the Americans went in. Why did they go in the second time? They hated Saddam Hussein. Just because of that. Nothing else. They took Saddam Hussein out. So fine. And they went, did whatever they want to. What is the result? ISIS rose. ISIS came up radical completely. So then they had to go and fight against ISIS and all. And then they destabilized Libya and Syria. And then they couldn't destabilize Iran. They did their best. Uh, of course, they did succeed, but Iran, being a civilization state, it had its limits. Ultimately, they've quit that place and handed over power to some joker. Now, those fellows are Shias. Now, what has and that there is militancy still in Iraq. Uh, American troops are still stationed. There's no peace. From a balance of between Shias and Sunnis, especially north of the Gulf, right? North of the Gulf. Today, you have a sway from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Lebanon, all a Shia lot. And south is the Sunnis completely. So they've created a divide. They've yielded space. And ever since then, there's instability. Before the removal of Saddam, there was balance in that area. Iran was kept under check. Okay, Iran was kept under check because on one side Pakistan was being supported by Americans. On the other side, there was a hostile Saddam Hussein. So we must remember Iran and Iraq had a war for 8-10 years long back, and they had no love lost between the two of them. Iran was under check. Today, you removed Saddam because you hated Saddam. You removed, and now Iran is out of check. It's almost nuclear. Who's lost in the whole bargain? USA. They've they've cut their nose to spite their face, or whatever that story is. Uh, okay, and the same thing now they have done in Bangladesh. They didn't like Hasina, whether good, bad, or ugly, they threw her out. Okay, all Bangladeshis who are, let me finish. All Bangladeshis who are listening to this will feel, no, 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 no. It was a revolution and all that. We'll talk of that. We'll talk of that. There was a revolution, but the instigation for the revolution came from where? It came from USA. Now it's coming out, right? And I'm going, my slide deck, I'll explain that. So you are in a situation where things are developing. If you see the trajectory where Bangladesh is going and the trajectory of Iraq, right? It's almost there. A lot of Bangladeshis today will say, "Oh no, no, we are independent and all." My left foot, you are not independent as you think you are. Let me be very blunt about it, and I will show you your trajectory today where you're going. And so USA needs to know. And mind you, this is something not I'm talking of. Okay, there was a talk which has come recently, panel discussion in which the prime panelists were Jeffrey Sachs and John Mearsheimer. They described how all regime change operations by USA have done and have destabilized that area and have proven counterproductive to USA itself. And if you see what happened there, including the Orange Maidan revolution in Ukraine and all those revolutions and the Arab Spring and all that, and to what's happening here, it's a it's a it's a similarity which I never thought it would be there. And this, I started putting together my thinking hat in a different manner yesterday, and even supposing that. Now, before I go to the slide deck, I'll like to explain, and I'll come back and take on any question. So, you put up your hand, so please go ahead.
I was trying to remember what it was that I had put my hand up for. It'll come to me. General Ravi Shankar, basic question here is that, oh yeah, I know what it is. Sir, there was a guy called Jerry Bremer. Jerry Bremer was put in charge of administering the occupied Iraq. And the first thing, or among the first things he did, was instead of going after the corrupt Baathist generals, he completely dismantled the Iraqi army, which formed the basis for ISIS afterwards.
ISIS, yeah, we know that. We know that. I completely agree with you. I gave the parallel to Iraq because whatever has happened to Iraq, mota is happening here.
Yeah.
So I go with you completely on that.
Also, viewers, many of you may not know this, that after First World War, Iraq needed to be stabilized. And after the First World War, in 1920, the British actually sent Indian troops to stabilize Iraq because culturally they knew, which they did. Yeah. And the interesting part, let me finish that, sir. I mean, the interesting part is India offered to help US stabilize Iraq after 2003 when they went in. And this guy, same individual, he just brushed it aside. I mean, you couldn't have been a dumber guy. This guy is supposed to be very sharp. I don't know what sharpness was.
They will not get involved with these individuals because they are not central to the story. But the fact is that America has always, it's a proven fact that they've done. Look at Afghanistan. They went in to take out Taliban after 20 years of fighting Taliban. They put Taliban back into power. So, it's back to square one. What have they achieved? Nothing. So you can go, you look at Vietnam, what happened? They went into Vietnam to drive out the communists. They left the communists in power and came back. So it's a sorry saga, and right. So, but let's look at what is happening next door so that we understand this better.
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Can we have the slide? Yeah. Look, I'm now again going by most of my thing is from Bangladeshi news headlines, and I'm picking up the cues from there. Okay. Look at this. This is Daily Star a few days back. They say India and US need a stable Bangladesh. So far, so good. This op-ed is good. I like it. But this is the basic thing. You need a stable Bangladesh. That's the operative word, stable Bangladesh. The question is Bangladesh heading to stability? Okay. Next, please. Yeah. And Recently, you saw this hugging by Biden and Yunus, where Biden has offered full support to US-led government, and a lot of money is trying to being flown in. They'll say, "Look, we'll give you money, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, everything. We'll give you all kinds of help." So, bonhomie. But this is typical regime change, post regime change aid which US gives, and this aid historically has been meaningless. It's tough. It's meant for some things which uh, probably lines up people's pockets. An end of story. After that, nothing goes down to grassroots, and they leave everything, and they'll get their aim, whatever they wanted to do. That it's unfolding. So I'll really not comment on that at this point of time, but that's how it is. Yeah, next one. Okay, now this is what has come out. Yeah, Mr. Yunus, the Professor Yunus goes and introduces those two students as the brains behind Hasina's ouster. It's internationally, he's gone and said, these are the chaps who plotted the whole story. So there's nothing, which has come out from Bangladesh from within, as if it's an eruption. It's not something, all of a sudden, one fine morning, every Bangladeshi felt Hasina should go. It's a clear plot which has taken place, instigated, right? And this he is admitted on world stage. So he is also installed, right? So this is where Bangladesh is. Many people might say, "Oh no, this is coming from a Indian newspaper. This is just a headline." You go to the American tabloid papers and go to things there. Everything is clear there also. I have no, yeah, dekho. He's introduced these people to Clinton and gang. So this is no more a revolution, monsoon revolution. Behind the revolution, there's a lot of planning and purpose. Okay, let's move ahead. Right? So now, of course, there's China also, which is throwing its hat in the ring. It's giving duty-free access to all products. That's the thing. Let's see where it goes. So this is the joker in the pack. And with the joker in the pack is that other joker from Pakistan, where, that joker, Shabazz Sharif, has met Professor Yunus, right? And they've had a talk with each other on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. So now Pakistan is going to play midwife to Bangladesh to help them with China, and of course US. Wherever US goes, behind them, Pakistan is a trotting dog. So they'll come. Okay, so that's going to happen. So you see the direction in which Bangladesh is going. Yeah, next please. Yeah. Now the reality. No, this is the Asian Development Bank. It's not IMF, this, that, and all. Asian Development says Bangladesh growth is forecast, or rather cut forecast, due to political interest. And this will not go away. This is not going to run away. So we are not going to see economic revival of Bangladesh for quite some time to come till political unrest settles. Will political unrest settle? That's the next question which I have to answer. So, yeah, so political unrest won't settle. Now, why will political unrest not settle? Let's ask that question. That's the next slide. Yeah, please. So this now the army chief says this is remarks. Okay, about 3, 4, 5 days back, he says reforms vital before the election is held. Now let's discuss this business of reforms. Who will carry out reforms? As it is, there is issue that this government is not constitutional. So if they do carry out reforms, right, do they have the political backing for it? Does the army have the capability to ensure that the reforms go through after the political stability is reached? Will the political parties accept these reforms? And who are the political parties? Awami League, which is a major constituent of Bangladesh even now, they might be dormant, but they are the major the people of Bangladesh, and that's the strongest party which gave them freedom, is being sidelined. How can you carry out constitutional amendment by an unconstitutional government by keeping the major party out? and with no political consensus. So how constitutional is that? So what reforms are we talking of? This is a typical chicken and egg story, catch 22. Which came first? I don't know whether it's a chicken or the egg. But in this case, both the chicken and the egg seem to be different. Okay. So let's go to the next issue. Now, which is the political force which is coming up in Bangladesh? Everyone said, no, no, Jamaat has got only 5% voting, this thing, there's a nuisance value and all. People must understand 3.5% is an, if 3.5% people make noise in the country, governments topple. Now that's a worldwide statistic. And Jamaat has more than that. And now they are forging political unity with Islamist parties. So they want an electoral alliance. So they're coming into power. Now, will they act? Okay, whether they come into power or not, I couldn't care a damn. That's for Bangladeshis to vote whom they want to be keep in power. They can keep. I have no issue with it. It's their democracy. Okay, or whatever it is. But will they accept the political reforms? Does political reforms in a country, constitutional reforms, can't be carried out without political consultations? So it's a big question, right? This is the trajectory of how Bangladesh is going. Let me get to the next one. Okay. Yeah. So this is a op-ed in Dhaka Tribune. Are we experiencing a mobocracy? Just 2-3 days back. And this is that one in yellow is the sentence I've lifted from the content of this article. Is Bangladesh, which recently overthrew a quasi-fascist government, struggling to establish democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. This is not my assessment. This is the assessment of the person who wrote this article from Bangladesh. He's not from, Antarctica. I mean, you see where the trajectory is going. Okay. Now let's go further. Because unless look at this. This is from India Today. Okay. This photograph is now quite international. As per this, no Durga Puja holidays, no ideal immersion. Islamists in Bangladesh warn Hindus. See, very clearly, when we did the webinar on Gunner Shot with Ambassador Mukhopadhyay, General Hasnain, and General Gautam Murthy, the four of us when we spoke, it came out that one of the important steps which Bangladesh will define where Bangladesh is going is how Durga Puja will be conducted. 1 month, that was a month away, now 2 weeks away. So we said, unless it was conducted well, peacefully, and Bangladesh had this plural tradition of adopting Durga Puja as a national, festival. So this is the festival which is being threatened. Officially, they've already said, okay, you can't have it when the azan is there, all that. But behind the scenes, this is coming. And this organization called Kemkari Chatra Janta, they have very clearly said this is what they have written. This is their pronouncement, since India is the national enemy of Bangladesh. So there's a section of Bangladeshis who consider India as a national enemy. Hindu citizens of Bangladesh must also agree to be anti-India. For this reason, anti-India banners and all are supposed to be put up in these Durga Puja celebrations. Now, all this is being reported in India Today, which is one of the most respected magazines in India. And these are not, these are not imaginary quotes. These are actual quotes from their press releases. Right? Let's go to the next one. This is the quote by Gaurav Sawant, who's a senior editor in India Today. I've known him. I've known his father, the army man, from long back. He says, look at this. What he says. Same. But the operative thing is in the last. India Today. The real power behind the throne in Bangladesh are the Islamists, says Veena Sikri. Veena Sikri was an ambassador to Bangladesh. You listen to her, she'll tell you. Yeah, now we can take the slides out. Now the whole story is there's no real democracy coming out. There are no reforms. Mobocracy is on the streets. They have very clear things about the minorities. Forget about in Hindus. What about their treatment of Buddhists? What about the treatment of Christians? Even I think the chief bishop of Bangladesh has come out with a statement about Christians. What about the treatment of certain Shias? That's also come out. So what's happening, right? I think, and I'm very confident today in the comments in Gunner Shot, they will be vile. They'll curse me. They will also hurl abuse at me. I'm very confident. But what we need to bother, I mean, Bangladesh can do what it wants as far as I'm concerned. But Bangladesh should live up to its promises. A lot of the leaders promise that the minorities will be safe. Hindus will be allowed to do Durga Puja. Is that being done? If that is not being done, how do you expect India to respect you? How do they expect India not to, to sit quiet? Well, just think. And then if all this is happening, and if Bangladesh is going wayward, how does anyone in Bangladesh think that India will keep quiet? India will do something. What will India do is something else. I don't know. So that's a different story. But look at what USA has left behind. Are they going to stabilize the situation by bringing in a government? Today, the option, even before USA, is a weak BNP, which is almost a non-existent party, which is not able to, it's not a cadre-based party anymore. And there's no political entity. There's a 84-year-old person who's unconstitutional. Elections are not on the horizon. In fact, now people are talking 1 to 1.5 years before this. And the army chief says that he carry out reforms. It's a muddle, right? And then there's Pakistan trying to, maneuver in. It will maneuver in with the help of USA. And when it maneuvers in, it'll bring China in. I mean, this is what one can make out. And Bangladeshis will keep saying, oh, we are doing this, we are doing this, we are our democracy. I don't see any democracy. So we're going to have problems next door, thanks to USA. Will USA get it? The next question, which I would like to examine, is will USA get what it wants? Why did it do what it did? If you analyze why did it do? Just because you didn't like Sheikh Hasina, you threw her out. Like Iraq, if there's no alternative, whoever the alternative is non-political, it doesn't have the political weight. The same thing happened in Afghanistan. You put Hamid and Karzai. Karzai didn't have the political weight beyond a point. He was thrown out. Then Ghani was brought in. He was also thrown out. Now, whoever is there is out of control out of the USA. So you lost that entire swath north. And that is why most of this Middle East crisis is happening. Because Iran was not there, Iraq was not there under Saddam Hussein or a Sunni ruler, whoever it was. The balance in the north of Gulf was lost. And Iran today has Hezbollah, Houthi, Hamas, and the Iraq Shia militias loafing all around the countryside and exercising power. And they are on the verge of turning a nuclear button. Same thing will it go to Bangladesh? Even Bangladeshis want to go nuclear. If Bangladeshis want to go nuclear, so Pakistan hai, China hai, they'll be more than happy to do this whole story. Then what has USA achieved? Was the USA thinking that I will take out 50%? It is like saying I'll take out the Democrats and have a democracy, and or I'll take out the Republicans and have a democracy in USA. Right? You didn't have an alternative. Your alternative is a hobbled alternative. So you're going to enter, even if you enter, you have to now enter. There's no choice for the USA left. You have to enter to Bangladesh to try and stabilize it, which you can't. So where does it leave your end state? What is the end state which USA sought? Base to sort out China? Why do you need a base to sort out China when you have India, which is a civilizational power? And as for Jeffrey Sachs and John Mearsheimer, we are a superpower already. When you had a superpower as your friend or your near ally, did you need Bangladesh? So a lot of things are on the in the cauldron at this point of time. I am only waiting for the elections to happen, and someone comes out, and says, "Look, we need to relook at this whole story which you have created. India and USA have no choice but to come sit on the same table and talk." Is that happening today? It's not happening. You talk of Quad, America, USA, bye bye, and all that, but behind USA is doing something else. Its deep state is doing something else. Now, if you say there is a deep state or not, again, I go back to what John Mearsheimer and Jeffrey Sachs spoke 2 days back. This is a very good video. There is a deep state which is operating, which goes against the interests. I mean, I won't say it goes against the dictates of the president. And they've given examples of this. I mean, they are supposed to be the foremost thinkers of in Russia, in USA. So this is the story which is now coming. It's more than Tangled. Tangled is a very diplomatic and a very nice word to what's coming out. Yeah, the good thing. Let me also put the good thing is there is a realization in India where this is going. One. Number two, the major realization is the people of Bangladesh are going to get cheated by their own people. This is what my thinking is. And India will reach out to the people of Bangladesh. We will deal with the government, whichever is there in whichever form. But we will deal with the people. We would like to help the people still of Bangladesh. Because, like I always say, and I have said it from day one, and the first time we spoke on this was on P Gurus only. I will still say that India and Bangladesh are interlocked. We have no choice but to be together. We have a shared good future or a shared bad future. India will have a shared bad future to a limit. After that, we will jettison Bangladesh and tell Bangladesh, please do what you want to do. Right? Just like we told Pakistan, you do what you want to do. We couldn't care a damn. And like Mr. Modi said in the interview the other day, यार पाकिस्तान को हम बोलते हैं कि भैया आप जो करना चाहते हो आप कर लो आप सुबह चाय पीना चाहते हो चाय पी लो खाना खाना चाहते हो कर लो जो अपना 2 रोटी कमाना चाहते हो करके जो भी करना है कर लो अगर नहीं करना चाहते हो तो मत करो डोंट कम बैक टू अस वी आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन यू सेम थिंग विल हैपन हियर देयर विल कम अ स्टेज इफ बांग्लादेश doesn't right itself India will have no choice to say fine do what you want to do we'll deal with you each other as two sovereign nations which are with normal relations, whatever the relations are. Now Bangladesh has to think whether India is an enemy state or not. People have to speak. And the asset test is still now. If this Durga Puja doesn't go well, let me tell you, a lot of people in India are not going to be happy about it, even including the minorities. And then you see the trajectory of this whole thing going. Well, this is only a marker. I still maintain that we need to develop a better people to people understanding between India, of Indians and Bangladeshis. Our future has to be a shared future for a better tomorrow, not putting fingers at each other. And this analysis you might think is against you. I agree with the kind of thinking you people have at this point of time. You might think. But my analysis is based on what you people have said. It is your analysis, what your op-ed people have written. And you might say, no, those chaps who have written in Daily Star or Dhaka Tribune are people who don't represent Bangladesh. But damn it, in every democracy, the papers carry the sentiments of the people. Whatever is happening in the country comes out in the headlines of newspapers. What's happening in your country has to come out in headlines of your country, leading newspapers. And these two are by far the most, sober kind of newspapers. The others, I have not gone into the other ragtag newspapers which will spew venom, which I am not interested in digging that and getting emotional. Right? So I thought I'll put all this across. USA is leaving it's already tangled the web. It's there. This problem is with us. And we'll have to see how this goes. This is a situation which is evolving, and this is a steep trajectory which is unfolding in front of us. That's why I am these days, every third, fourth, fifth day, I'm having a talk on Bangladesh. Okay. So I'm not being emotional about this whole story. I'm being actually cold-headed. Very cool-headed, unemotional, raw analysis. Take it, and it's in your face analysis. And take it or leave it. The ball is actually in Bangladesh's court. I've done to put across my points of view, IRG. You have any views? Put it across, and then we'll take a lot of questions.
Just one observation, General Ravi Shankar, and you can add to this because I don't know how much you know about this. I read an article just moments ago. See, viewers, these shows that we do, right? It takes a lot of prep time. General Ravi Shankar can talk anything about army because he has been there. He's an army man. I am not. I'm just a dispassionate observer. And I read an article where General V.K. Singh, at that time, during the 1971 war, he was in military intelligence. And he goes to one house where the door opens. There are 300 women, everybody in their birthday suits. They were not allowed to wear any clothing. Almost all of them were pregnant, 2 months, 4 months, 8 months. And there was a small staff of Pakistani soldiers, living there. The first thing they tried to do is to snatch the pistol or try and snatch the pistol of General V.K. Singh. And then it turned out they wanted to shoot themselves because they knew that the Indian army was closing in. The point I'm trying to make is all these people that are spewing venom here, rascals, this was done for you, by us, by Indians. Have some appreciation of your own history.
Shriji, well, I'll not even factor 71 in. Okay, we did what we had to do. I'll let it go. I'll get back to square one. I don't want any Bangladeshi to feel, for me that we helped you out. Forget it. Forget we helped you. It doesn't matter. What we did was useless. Only you got your own independence without India and Indian army. Great. You did it. Okay. You are fantastic guys. You can take care of your own democracy. You can take over whatever you want. But what next? Let's not be emotional. I mean, I'll put it this way. I don't want their views. I don't want their thanks. I don't want anything from them. I have no problem. I have no problem with that also. Okay. But let them think for themselves. If what they want to do, they're going to become something like Iraq. Iraq, let me put it, from 2011, when USA quit Iraq, today's 2024, it's not recovered. 2003, it went into a war. It's not recovered from 2003 to 24, and it's not going to recover. We are not going to enter Bangladesh. Let me be very clear about it. We are not interested in coming to a war with you people. We are not interested in going for a war with Pakistan. If war is thrust on us, then India will not keep quiet. That also you must understand. But we're not going to interfere in whatever you want to do, please do. Okay? We are just not interested in putting one step into Bangladesh. And this I can vouch because I've spoken to a lot of senior people in this thing. And if Bangladeshis are in this, delusion that India wants to invade Bangladesh and all, forget it. If we had to invade Bangladesh, we would have not left it only. If we had to take any part of Bangladesh, we would have taken it then, when it was East Pakistan. And Bangladesh was still not born. And you could not have stopped us from doing what we wanted to do then. We didn't do it. So we'll not do it. We'll not interfere. We will not interfere with what you're doing. But we will not remain quiet to what's happening in Bangladesh. And what we will do, you'll watch. अभी देखते जाओ खेल और खेल जो है ना आपका खुद का होगा आप इराक को देखिए इराक का हिस्ट्री देखिए और जो पिछले 24 साल में whatever has happened there will happen to you in some other manner because here the additional factor or the catalytic factor in what happened in Iraq here are China and Pakistan. Go ahead.
Thank you so
Be
much,
our
sir.
guest.
Thank you so much, sir. We have a few questions from our viewers, and we'll take up
Yeah.
those questions now.
Yeah, and take the first question from a Bangladeshi.
Anonymous user wants to know the fact India is getting wrong is it's not a coup. American interest resonated with Bangladeshi people, so why no approach from India to keep the relation going? India and US are allies. Hey, listen, why do you want to put it as anonymous user? Why don't you use your name?
No, forget that. Let him be. I'll grant him that. But yeah, it was not a coup. तुम्हारा वो जो चीफ एडवाइजर ने तो इंट्रोड्यूस किया क्लिंटन को ये दोनों मास्टरमाइंड है वो दिस लाइक मास्टर चेफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया नो और ये दो है बावर्ची जो जिन्होंने coup प्लान किया उसने तो बताया रेवोल्यूशन प्लान किया यार वो those chaps are on stage. Yeah, Sachin, please put those that
Yeah, we
photograph
had that
back with
picture.
Clinton.
Yeah.
वो देखो ये तुम्हारा चेफ है कू का देखो अनोनिमस जी ये देखो दोनों और वो तीसरा लड़की भी है वो भी होगा some or if she's I don't know who she is but these two gentlemen these two young chaps smart guys who smartly made the whole revolution possible. You call it revolution, you call it a coup, non-coup, democratic, outburst. Call it what you want. How does it matter me? I'll sort out I don't have an alliance with America. Let me be very clear. Let me be very clear. India and USA are not allies. We've never been allies. We'll never be allies. It is not in India's interest to be an ally of USA. We are in a strategic partnership with them. And that strategic partnership is based on strategic autonomy, which India exercises. Okay? So we'll handle Bangladesh with USA. We'll talk to USA. Don't worry. We now have the heft to talk to USA. We have the heft to talk to Russia. We have the heft to talk to even China. You talk to yourself first. Yeah.
They just look like any other young person. You will not recognize them. But when you see them in action, when you hear them speak, you'll be shaking. They shook the whole country by their speeches, by their dedication, their commitment. They said, you can kill us anytime you want, but we are not giving up. And
good.
He is known as to be the brain behind the whole revolution. So he denies it repeatedly. He said, not me, many others. But that's how he's recognized that he's the brain behind the whole thing. It's amazing, meticulously designed thing. It's not just suddenly came, it's not like that. Very well designed. Even the leadership pattern, people don't know who the leaders. So you can't catch one and say, okay, it's over. It's not over.
So what is that? So I hope you people understand what you've been put through. So it's so well designed that no one knew what was happening. In the mastermind. The, as they say, the rest is yours.